Well, hey, maybe that's a good starting point for one of these articles we
Yeah.
want to discuss. And this isn't really an article, but a thread you were starting on
Oh,
the
yeah.
Slack channel about how you're using AI to do more automatic sort of writing, or I don't know what
Yeah.
you call it, AI based writing, and it's
Yeah.
kind of a
Yeah.
funny feeling. And I don't know,
Hmm.
you were talking a little bit about this transition. You want to share more about this direction that you were hinting at there about?
Yeah. I mean,
Think.
it kind of started experimentally. I had these tasks of this document that we had to create from scratch. It's one of those documents where you really have to put together multiple sources. I was a bit short of time, which again is the key thing in these situations. And what I did was I provided a prompt with lots of context, URLs, and I just let Claude do its thing. And the draft, surprisingly, was 70% there, was quite good already. And it's happening like increasingly. It's increasingly happening that I start like that, and then I refine, steer the LLM to do something different. But it's very good to kind of break the ice sometimes when you're stuck. Sorry, my voice is like, oh my gosh. And so yeah, and but there were very good comments in the thread, and I think one key aspect is you can do this when you start from a very good base. When you have already like a very good corpus of documentation, um, and then you can afford to do that. But otherwise, is more difficult.
Yeah. Well, starting from a good base is an interesting comment because I do see a lot of people make the argument that, yeah, if you've already got a good foundation of
Mm, mm.
documentation that you can feed in as context to the AI, the LLM, whatever we're calling it, then it's able to leverage that and produce pretty good drafts. But many tech writers might not have that good foundation. And I was just trying to imagine what that even would be like. Usually, in my experience, let's say that a team is creating a new API, which might just be a method added
Yeah,
to an existing
yeah,
API. Well, before they start coding this, there's going to be some kind of product requirements document, some kind of two pager that pitches the need for this. There's going to
hopefully.
be the the engineers usually have written the code, so there's going to be a code artifact with comments and output. By the time it gets to me, I've already got probably 50 pages of source material, engineering design, security reviews. um, I will vet the content and maybe remove stuff that didn't get coded. But if I'm just writing an API overview, I can draw upon a rich like foundation of material. I just do you are you in scenarios where you don't have anything and you're just like, oh, making your way?
No, it's almost never. Like we are always building upon an existing foundation. So
Yeah,
it's very rare. But I can see scenarios like as startups, for example, where you have to maybe write or contribute those foundational documents. And I think it's like seeding like a RAG or a knowledge base or any, because in the end, like Cursor, for example, uses its own local cloud-based RAG also, and it learns from your edits, it learns from your repos, and it becomes increasingly aware and more efficient at doing the edits you want to do. So it's like feeding the machine a bit, and there's always the need for that, I think, but maybe less so when you have like a very rich documentation base from where you're starting from. Which I case, it's in my case, it's like that. We have thousands of documents we can rely upon.
yeah. Maybe I'm taking for granted some extra like RAG intelligence because the models we use at my work, they're trained on Google's internal code base. Um, and there's like this giant mono repo of code. You could just search code across the company,
Right.
and all that is used to train it. So when I'm using the same AI tools to write documentation, it's really got a good foundation of all that other code.
Yeah.
So
Does the model also include like the monorepos include the docs, or it's a separate system
yeah,
or
the
repo?
the docs are literally treated as code, both policy wise, tool
Oh, okay.
wise. For the most part. I mean, obviously, you don't have to pass a security review to
Right.
release a new document, but yeah, that's actually been one of the frustrations is that like because docs are treated at the same as code, the security and other policies are a bit more stringent than we would like. But yeah, it's now to the point where most everything is open and accessible, and you can use everything that you want. But yeah, it's kind of it blends the same environment. It makes it really easy for engineers to write because it's like you just
Yeah.
use the same editor,
But
the
you
same
see, I think
workflow.